Hi, it's Elaine with MCPS Technology. So the fact that you're watching this video lets me know that you want to know more about Google Drive. So let's get right to it. We're going to explore Drive, and some of these things that we're going to cover you may already know, but I'm betting you'll learn something that you'd forgotten or maybe even something brand new. So let's go to Drive. Plenty of ways to get there, but I like to go through Gmail. And that's one of the easiest ways to get there. So once you've signed into your Gmail account, you'll notice there's a little grid in the upper right corner. And this is called the Google Apps Launcher. In the Google world, we like to call this the waffle because it reminds us of the breakfast food. So if you'll just click on the waffle, you'll see that there's a link to Google Drive. It's a triangular icon. So just click it, and that will bring you into your Google Drive. So if you're wondering, what is Drive? It's really like a giant holding place and a creation place for all things Google. So it's a great place for you to organize your files and keep them in ways that make sense to you. So we're going to explore how Drive is set up and all the pieces and parts. And I think that will increase your comfort level as you start to organize your own Drive. So notice that my Drive has all my folders listed first, and under folders are files. Mine, I wish it were better organized. I am working on that. This is one of my life goals. If your Drive looks different from mine, don't be alarmed. Depending on how much you've used this tool, you may not have as many files and folders, or you might even have more. One of the reasons it also might look different is you might be in grid view. If you click here, you'll notice that the view changes. So what grid view shows you is a thumbnail view of your files and lists your folders at the top. So sometimes this makes it easier for you to find the file you're looking for. And I sometimes use it when I'm moving files as well. But typically I like to stay in list view just because it helps me see and organize my Drive better. This is a personal choice. And so you may decide to keep your view in grid view all the time. But for the purposes of this video, we're going to stay in list view. So when you're in Drive, you'll notice there's a menu on the left, and this is how you navigate. Excuse me. This is how you navigate in Drive. You'll notice that where I am right now is bolded. And this is always the case. Wherever you are is going to be bolded. You might be thinking to yourself that that doesn't seem really important, but once you get several files and folders deep into Drive, you might be saying, where the heck am I? You can always figure that out by looking over to the left and seeing what's bolded. So let's just briefly check out these other areas of Google Drive. Notice there's a Team Drive feature, and right now this is only available in limited fashion in our domain. So we're not going to talk about that one. We're going to jump down to Shared with Me. In Shared with Me, I can see folders and files that are not owned by me, but that have been shared with me so that I can collaborate on them. I can see who shared them here, and I can see when they were last opened. And so I have access. I may just have viewing rights, or I might have editing rights into these files, but in any case, I did not create them. Under Recent, I can find files and folders that I've recently been working on. So here are the ones I've opened today and then earlier this week. I find this to be really helpful if I need to find a file quickly and it's something I knew I was recently working on. I can also go to Google Photos, which is a place where I will find photos and things that I've been working on in Google. We're getting a little note that says this tab is going to go away, so we won't spend too much time there. Under Starred, you can star a file just like you can in your Google Mail. Basically, all that means is it gathers it in one place. So I can put a star by a file if I want to be able to find it quickly, or I know it's important and I'm going to come back to it again and again. One of the ways I use this when I teach Google classes or have Google challenges and people are sharing files and folders with me, sometimes I will star them so that I can look at all of them at one time and I don't have to scroll to find them. That just makes it easier. And of course, you already know what trash is. So let's go back to our drive. So notice that my folders are lined up here. And when I click on one of them, notice that it becomes outlined in blue. So when I do that also, notice I get some extra choices up here in the menu. So I have things that I can do with this folder. I can get a shareable link. I can share this folder. I can, of course, send this folder to the trash. And then here we have 3 dots, which always indicates that there's something more. We call this the snowman, and that usually means that there's a menu there. So if I click that, notice all the things that I can do with this folder. I can open it. I can move it somewhere. I can add a star. That's what we were talking about earlier. I can change the color of this folder, and this is one way that I can organize my drive if I color code my folders. That's kind of neat. I can also view the details of the folder, meaning like when was it opened and things like that. I can rename it, almost missed that one, and I can also download this folder to my computer. Now, conversely, I'd like to show you that there's always more than one way to do things in Google. If I come down to the blue outline and right click, I get essentially the same menu. So lots of ways to do things in Google. So to make a brand new folder, this is what I want you to come away knowing how to do if you don't already know. And Google is quite intuitive and it's very easy to figure out, but I just want to increase your comfort level. So we're going to go through the steps really quickly. So to make a new folder, I go up to the New button, I click it, and I choose Folder. I give my new folder a name. I'm just going to call this Practice Folder for now. And I click Create. Notice that my practice folder is going to appear in my list in the proper alphabetical order, which is really helpful, right? And we're going to talk about sharing that folder in just a moment because that's also one of the skills I'd like you to come away with. But there's a few more things that I haven't showed you. So here I can view details. If I click on this, it's going to show me details about the practice folder. Now, it's not going to have much because I just made it, right? But if I had done anything else with this folder, like if I go to another folder, then the details are going to change. So this just helps give me information. What have I done with my files? I can also get help here. This is really important. And these are my settings. So we're going to be talking about settings later. This cog always indicates settings. Another really cool thing you can do is search your drive. So if there's a file or folder that you know you have, but you can't remember where you put it or where you made it, you can search your drive in all sorts of ways. So if I know it's a presentation, then I can just filter by that. Or I can even, like if I know who made the presentation, I can type the name in there, or I can click this down arrow and I can have all kinds of details. So it makes it easy to search your drive. That's one of the features I absolutely love. All right, going back to our drive, we've just made a folder. We've called it Practice Folder. I'm going to right click, and how about we change the color to a nice pink? And now I want to share this folder. So I could right click and do that, or I could go up to the share icon and just click it. Now later we're going to be digging into the sharing settings, but for now, I just want you to know how to share. So if you're taking on the Google Challenge, then you would be sharing this with me. So I'm just going to share it with myself right now. So you just type in the email of the person you want to share with. By default, that person will have editing rights. So just leave it at editing because I am going to need to be able to go in your folder. And then you can add a note like, here's my folder. And when I send this, when you send this, I'm going to receive an email that says, hey, Elena shared a folder, or whoever has shared a folder with you. And then I'll be able to have access into your folder. Those are the basics of navigating in Google Drive. So now I'd love for you to just play around in Google Drive. It's a really awesome place to be, and I think you're going to love it. I look forward to receiving your folder.